Hey everybody, welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We're going to get into one of my favorite topics, the Mandela effect. Oh, looks like something went wrong. Are we back? I don't know what happened there. I got kicked out. My end, it looked like there was just static. And I got kicked out, but I'm back now apparently at 2.5 minutes. I tried to restart the feed, but I guess we're back. Um, Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. I'm Sean, and today we're going to get into the Mandela effects. Um, the reason the Mandela effects are on my mind is because I'm working on a new Mandela effect video for my channel. So I'm researching a lot of new Mandela effects. But what I'm going to get into today is not really so much the new ones that I've been researching, but some of the ones that I've talked about before, but are just splitting my mind open. So come on in, and we're going to get into some Mandelas, and we're going to talk more about what I think is the cause of the Mandela effect, what I think is causing this phenomenon. Because people will play it up and they'll be like, well, the Mandela effect, that's just all due to bad memories. That's a lot of people misremembering something. Well, to me, that is fascinating as well. Thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people sharing the same bad memories, thinking that they're real. That's fascinating as well. What's the odds of that? That multiple people would share the same version of reality in their head. That's interesting. So the Mandela effect is fascinating to me. It's something that I spend a lot of time thinking about. And one of the main reasons is there are certain Mandelas that I would swear on my life they were the way that I remember them. I don't know what. It keeps giving me alerts that my video resolution is not optimal. Hopefully, you guys aren't experiencing any buffering problems or anything like that. I've been playing with the settings now that I'm trying to learn how to do these live feeds over on YouTube. I've been playing with the settings and I'm trying to get it nailed down. So hopefully, we don't kick out or buffer too much. Turbocharged Paranormal asks, was 9/11 a Mandela effect? Not that I'm aware of. Um, what element of 9/11 would you be asking was a Mandela? The whole incident? Is 9/11 itself a Mandela, or is there something about 9/11 that may have changed that I'm not aware of or that I may not be aware of? Because there are a lot of new Mandelas discovered every day. And I would like to hear from you if you're here and you're into Mandela effects. I would like to hear from you some of the ones that break your mind, because I'm going to get into some of the ones that do that for me. That just I swear I could take a lie detector test and pass it. That I believe these so firmly. And the ones I'm going to bring up are the ones that I think are easiest to just talk about, because I haven't figured out how to play video clips for you guys. I'm learning how to do that, and that's something we'll be looking forward to in the future on these feeds. The ability for me to break off and show you web pages and video clips and things like that. I learn as I go. That's one of the things that's kind of fun and frustrating at the same time about watching my videos is you'll see them get better over time, but you got to go through the frustration of watching me learn as I go. But we're learning YouTube. I think it's going well. Apparently, I need to adjust the resolution of my video. I keep getting that warning. But hopefully, you're not experiencing any buffering. If you are experiencing lag or buffering, I apologize, and I will work on that in the future and work those kinks out. And I also apologize for that little 2 minute delay we had. I don't know what that was, but I was out trying to fix it, and I come back in and find out I've been live the whole time. So hopefully, I wasn't doing anything weird while I didn't know I was live on YouTube. But I'm going to get into some of the Mandelas that for me are just mind blowing. They just break my head. They still do. One of the newest that I'll get into is a Bible change. And this one, I don't even know why it's affecting me so deeply because I'm not that into the Bible. I am a Christian, but I don't follow the Bible very closely. I don't have it memorized. I've never even read the entire thing, which is sad because I even had a version, an audiobook version, that was read by James Earl Jones. So, like the coolest audiobook version of the Bible that you could possibly have, and I still didn't finish it. But The Lion and the Lamb. The lion lays with the lamb. That Bible verse is now the lion lays with the wolf, and that is breaking my head. I can't stand it. It's the lion and the lamb. I know that's what it was, and I'm not even that much of a Bible scholar, but a lot of biblical scholars are having a big problem with this because this is a huge change to the Bible. And there's multiple ones in the Bible. I again haven't really focused too much on the Bible ones because like I said, I don't know much about the Bible itself. But the lion and the lamb, I know that it was the lion and the lamb. That one is hard for me to get over. That's a big one. Another one that is a really big one for me and it's hard for me to get over, mostly because I worked in the entertainment industry at the time that these headphones came out. I was a store manager at a Blockbuster, and we had advertising for it everywhere. The advertising for these headphones was everywhere. And I'm talking about the high-end headphones by Beats that were made. Beats by Dre is the way I and many people remember them. Beats by Dre. That even sounds better. But what they apparently always have been called is Beats by Dr. Dre, which doesn't sound right to me at all. And I was surrounded by the advertising for this product for a long time. I mean, it was right in front of my face for a very long time, and I would swear that it was just Beats by Dre, which sounds better than Beats by Dr. Dre. But they say it's always been Beats by Dr. Dre. And any brand name I bring up during this discussion, it's always been that way. It's not that they changed their name. It's not like originally it was Beats by Dre and they changed it to Beats by Dr. Dre. It's that it always was Beats by Dr. Dre, and we remember Beats by Dre incorrectly. And it's going to be the same with any logo I bring up or any of these. These aren't changes. This is a memory of something that apparently never existed. That's what Mandelas are. But another big one for me that had to be on my list of mind blowing Mandela effects for me that just split my head open because I remember this was one of the first Mandelas that I remember experiencing. I remember being in the store and noticing the change, and that is with Febreze. Now, I remember Febreze being spelled Febreeze, like breeze, and it just looks right. And I remember noticing it in the store one day that it had changed, that it was now just Febreze, just one, no double E's in the middle, just Febreze, just all crunched together like that. No breeze in the word anymore. And I remember noticing it. I remember pointing it out. I remember pointing it out to my wife that they had changed the way they spelled Febreze. Well, they never changed it because it was never the way I remember it. It was never double or if I'm live still. So I'm going to talk and keep going, and I will find out later if I come back. Okay, now I'm coming back. So this is probably what happened earlier, and I didn't fight through it. So I got to figure out why that's happening and correct that for the future because apparently I'm dropping out, and that's no good. But another one I wanted to talk about, and a lot of these are from movies, and the reason why a lot of the ones that break my head are from movies is because of the useless knowledge in my head. Movies take up a huge portion of that. And I'm very good at movie trivia. I have a lot of movie knowledge. Like I said, I was a store manager at Blockbuster. I was also a store manager at Movie Gallery. I made, for a living, helped people find movies off minimal descriptions. Like, remember that movie with the guy with the hair and the legs, and he walked to the place, and you would have to figure out what they were talking about. I have a massive library of movie information in my head. So some of these movie Mandelas, they give me a lot of trouble. And one of the big ones, and I'm not even that big of a Snow White fan, happens to be from Snow White, and it is the famous Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, who's the fairest of them all? Well, it's not Mirror, Mirror, and it never has been. It's Magic Mirror. Magic Mirror on the Wall. That's what she's always said. And everyone that remembers it as Mirror, Mirror is just misremembering it. That's crazy to me. What these all remind me of, and the brand names and movie switches, well, all of them, but those are the biggest ones that signal this for me, is have you ever read the Stephen King novel, The Stand? In the Stephen King novel, The Stand, they travel to multiple universes and in the Dark Tower as well. And they run across different things where there's I don't know. It's been a long time since I read the books, but you'll see a car and it's clearly a Toyota, but in this universe it's called a Loyota. You know what I mean? Just a little bit different, just a little off. That's what it reminds me of. And a lot of people think that's what's happening, that we're slipping in from multiple dimensions. And we'll get into that a little bit more into the conversation later on. I want to get into some of my more of my mind-breaking Mandelas that are my personal ones that split my head. But we'll get into more of the causes later on because I want to talk about CERN as well. Not just multiple universes, but how maybe this is being constructed and man made, that this is a man made phenomenon. And we're going to get into that a little later as well. But go The stream may have crashed. I'm not sure though. I'm just talking to fill dead air. If you're watching this live, I apologize for these technical difficulties. Okay, it's loading back up now. My OBS seems to be fine. The stream says I'm live on my OBS. Open ingestion settings. I've never had this much trouble with the YouTube feed before. This is interesting though. This, like I said, this is how I learn. This is how I learn to do stuff. But this is difficult. Huh. Let's see. I think that the stream has crashed. I didn't get any feedback on whether or not it did. All right, it looks like it's back now. I know this has probably been horrible to watch. I'm trying to learn how to do the live feeds over here, and I am going to continue to fight through this because I'm going to watch it back later to find out what went wrong. But I'm going to continue through my list of Mandelas, and hopefully we do not crash again. If you were here through that, I apologize. And like I said, we're just learning. This is a learning process. I'm moving this show over to YouTube. This is a Facebook show. Um, but I think it can work on YouTube, and I want to try it, and I want to give it a fair shake over here because I want to engage more with my YouTube audience. I want to grow the YouTube audience. My channel is at about 850 subscribers. Our goal, or my goal, is 1,000, and we're almost there. So I usually archive these on YouTube, but I noticed when I started trying them from YouTube that you get you get a cleaner picture and you don't get so much lag. On Facebook, I get a ton of lag. But over here, I didn't seem to get so much, and the sound sounded better. But let me get back to these Mandelas, because like I want to get through these Mandelas, these particular ones, because I've covered them before, so they're not going to be in my new video. But like I said, these break my head, and I'd like to hear if you experience any of these too. And the next one on my list that I've talked about before is Kit Kat. Now I remember the Kit Kat logo as Kit-Kat. I very clearly remember it that way. But if you go and you look at a Kit Kat candy bar, it's just Kit Kat smushed together. Just Kit Kat, almost like it's one word. There's no dash in the middle, and they say there never was. I remember there being a dash. I know there was a dash. I could pass a lie detector test over it. I swear there was a dash in Kit Kat. But they say there never was. Another one, this is from the movies. The next three are from movies. This one bugs the shit out of me. Now, I had to go back and rewatch the movie when I read this, when I first discovered this Mandela, because I was like, there's no way. There's no way. I remember him saying it, but if you watch Silence of the Lambs, and remember the scene where he meets Clarice, he's like, hello, Clarice. He never says that. He never says hello, Clarice in Silence of the Lambs. He says good morning. He doesn't even say good morning, Clarice. Just good morning. And it's just wrong, wrong, wrong. He he said hello, Clarice. I remember it. It's famous. There are a lot of examples of it being parodied in movies. Um, Somebody who has done it in a movie is Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey's a fascinating one because a lot of Mandelas he's done in his riffs in different movies. And I'm going to talk about that more in it. I think I want to make it its own standalone video because Jim Carrey is like almost like he's immune to the Mandela effect because he apparently remembers everything the way I remember it. Because when he makes fun of something, he'll drop things like "Hello, Clarice." That's the way I remember it. That was never in the movie. This next one bothers the shit out of me too, and it's because it just doesn't sound right anymore. And I rewatched this movie too. This is from Forrest Gump. And I remember the line as life is like a box of chocolates. Mama always used to say that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's not the line. The line is life was like a box of chocolates. Now, why would mama say life was like a box of chocolates? That doesn't even make sense. Life used to be like a box of chocolates, but it's not like a box of chocolates anymore. It's not life was a box of chocolates. It's life is, and it always was. And like I say, I would I will fight that and argue that to my dying day. That's been changed. That's definitely a change. These Mandelas that I'm listing off, and I just wanted to get into the ones that break my head first before I explain to you why I believe this is a man-made phenomenon. This is not mass memory, mass mismemory, or whatever they want to say. Hey, the time traveler's back. Shuin is back. You're still here. How long do you get to stay in our time? That is something I wanted to ask you yesterday. Shuin was here yesterday, and shared a couple interesting things from the future. Maybe you'll be good enough to share more things from the future today. But I would like to know, is time travel in the future, is it something where you can vacation? You can come to a certain time and stay for a little while, or what, how does it work? Because are you going back to your time? Basically is what I'm asking. How long do you get to stay? But the next one is the biggest one from movies for me. This one is huge. It's almost the biggest Mandela for me personally. These are the ones I'm listing off are my personal ones that break my head. I want to hear from you what yours are. What is one for you that just you cannot accept, that you, some of the Mandelas for me are like, oh, I might be wrong, but these ones I'm listing off for you, I am positive that these have changed. This next one is among those, and like I said, it's one of the biggest for me. It's from Star Wars. It's the famous reveal scene in Empire Strikes Back, where Darth Vader finally lets Luke know that he's his father. And I remember him saying, Luke, I am your father. I'm not alone in that. Many people remember that. That's not what he says. Now he says, no, I'm your father. That's just shitty writing, you know, and it's not like George Lucas is such a great writer director that I couldn't attribute some shitty dialogue to him. It's not like there's no shitty dialogue in those movies, but you're going to blow the big reveal that bad to where now it's just no, I'm your father. It's Luke, I'm your father. That's what it always was. Just like C3PO never had a silver leg. This is a double decker from Star Wars. C3PO's silver leg, that was never there. They say it always was. It wasn't. And if you look back throughout time, I'm a collector of the toys. It wasn't on the toy. They say it was on some, but I want you to show me one. I want you to show me some toys from back when, not new toys, but back when Star Wars first came out, the old toys. Show me C3PO's silver leg. I want to see him. Just, I know he wasn't on my toy. He didn't have a silver leg. Let's see. Shuan says, Mandela effect is actually time-changing events that put the human species in extinction, and rippling effects are small but noticeable. Uh, Shuan says, I'm actually can be in your timeline as long as I finish my mission, but there's loopholes. So you have a mission. So it's you're sent on a mission. Is that the only way that you can time travel in the future, or is it something where people can vacation? Like I can, like let's say I live in 2098. That's where Shuan's from. Let's say I live in 2098. Can I go wherever I want, or do I have to? Are you a special agent? You know, is time travel only available to the elite and maybe your military even? I'm sorry, I keep my nose is itching. But the next, I only got three more that I want to get into, and then I'm going to get into what I think's causing it. Shuan is from the future, so he has insight I don't have. So he knows, he's saying that Mandela effect is caused by time traveling and time changing events. But which some people do hypothesize, you know, along with multiple universes. But I'm going to get into what I think's doing causing it a little bit later on. And am I crashing again? I don't know if I should ignore that little preview box or not, but it looks like I just crashed out again. But it's highly possible that I didn't. Now I'm back again. See, I can't tell what's actually going on, so I'm just going to continue like nothing's happening. But the next one is another big one for me because I remember I have a vivid childhood memory of this one being explained to me because it's the side view mirrors in your car. What do they say? I remember them saying objects in the mirror may be closer than they appear. And I remember being tripped up on that as a kid when I was looking at it. I remember my father explaining to me because I was asking him, why does it say maybe? Why isn't it, why does it say maybe? What? But he explained because, and it makes sense. This makes more sense why it would say maybe, is it's not always the case. The way those mirrors work is they fit more into the image, but the nearer something is to that mirror, the more accurate the distance it is that you're seeing from the mirror. So the closer it is to you, it it will actually appear where it really is, but if it's further away, it may appear closer than it actually. See what I'm saying? That's why it was maybe, and that's the way it was explained to me. But saying it in this reality, it never was maybe. It's always been objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, which doesn't make sense anymore because, like I just explained, they're not always closer than they appear, which is why maybe made more sense to let you know that you can't always trust what you're seeing in that mirror. You need to actually look for yourself. That's the way it was explained to me, and it's the way that makes sense. But in this reality, as I've said, that's not the way it is anymore. This next one splits my head in two. I can't accept this one. And there's actually been multiple examples uh, of this showing up in pop culture being misremembered as well in mass media. And that is the inventor of the cotton gin, Eli Whitney. Now, I remember Eli Whitney being a black man. I remember learning about him during Black History Month in school. But Eli Whitney is not a black man in this reality. He's a white man, and it just doesn't look right at all. It I can't accept it. These like I said, all the ones I'm listing off are ones that I can't accept. And that leaves us with our last one that I'm going to mention. And this is the biggest one for me. Like I said, the Star Wars one's close, but this is the biggest one for me. And it's the Berenstain Bears. That breaks my head because it was the Berenstain Bears. I know it was. And this is another one that has to do with childhood memories because I remember struggling with it as a child reading the books, wondering if it was Steen or Stein. I knew how to say Stain. I wouldn't have had any trouble with it if it was Stain. Why would I think Stain was Steen or Stein? I never knew how to say the name right. I loved those books as a child. I would read them all the time, and I know for a fact it was Berenstain Bears. It was not Berenstain. It was Berenstain. But let me hear some of your favorite Mandelas or some of the ones that, aren't just fun for you, that where it gets serious. Because these are all serious for me. Like these all make me realize something's wrong. These are big. These are the big ones for me. And if you watch this channel, you've heard me talk about every one of them that I listed off before. The only one I haven't mentioned in a video on this channel is the Bible one. And again, the reason I say that is because I'm not that into the Bible. I can't trust myself on that one. That one didn't really break my head. Only in the way that I remember my grandma having something on her wall, the Lion and the Lamb. And she was a very religious woman, and she would have been very informed on the Bible. Tried to get me to read it. Gave me one of those when I was a kid where it's written in the way people talk to make it easier for you to understand. I didn't even read that one. I feel bad. Then let's get into what I think's causing it. Since Shuan's here from the future and has already told us that time travel is what's causing this. It's glitches in time, which is very interesting and could be. I get that that could be it. But I believe what's causing the Mandela effect and what's causing these skips in time is the research being done at CERN. Now, Schuon is from the future, So maybe you can give me a little more insight as someone with 2020 vision. Hindsight's 2020, they say. You know more about CERN than me, maybe. You know more about what they've uncovered throughout time, even. Because what they're playing with, we'll at least just talk about what they're playing with. They're playing with the Higgs boson particle. Now, you may have also heard this particle being referred to as the God particle. They believe it is the glue to the universe. It's what holds everything together. Well, they're trying to unravel it. They want to play with it and split that particle and figure out how to unravel the glue of the universe. And destruction is all around CERN. That they There's a very interesting video you should look up, and this is another time in the show that I've wished I could show you a video clip. But look up the Dance of Destruction done by CERN. They put this out as promotional material, doing the Dance of Destruction, a dance to the god Shiva, who they also have prominently displayed right out front of their facilities, a huge statue to Shiva, the god of destruction. I believe they're trying to unravel existence itself. Shun says CERN has nothing to do with Mandela effect. It's about whether to destroy crops and create crops that make sense. CERN is to control the weather. So what they're trying to do is control weather and crops and things like that at CERN. That's interesting. I know that what they're doing at CERN is considered to be extremely dangerous. A lot of the smartest people considered to ever live, Stephen Hawking, Neil deGrasse Tyson, have all come out warning about what's being done at CERN and talking about how what's being messed with there should not be messed with. Well, I believe that they're trying to unravel reality. They're trying to at least figure out what holds together reality by undoing it. They're trying to. This is the. Let me explain a little bit about CERN. CERN is the facility in Sweden. It's the Large Hadron Collider is what they have there. This thing is huge. It's like 17-mile circle, and it's a particle collider. They are able to accelerate particles and collide them with each other and do experiments on the results. And I think that the things that they're messing with there, and I'm not alone in thinking this. Like I said, Stephen Hawking went to his death warning about what we're doing at CERN and warning that we're messing with things and elements that we shouldn't be toying with, and that we could undo the fabric of reality, that we can undo existence and life itself. But now you say CERN has to do with weather control and crops. What does that have? What about HARP? Do you know? Do you follow HARP? Is HARP known about? They say that they shut it down, but HARP was actually built to tamper with the ionosphere and control the weather and things like that, and weaponize weather control. Jun says in his timeline, CERN is actually good for humanity. So the research done at CERN is been used to benefit society in the future, is what Shun is saying. Um, and that'd be great. You know, I would like I anytime I think something is mischievous or evil, I would love to be wrong. You know, but it's weird to me that they embrace the god of destruction as their figurehead, the statue that they have outside of their facility, and they do a dance to her in promotional videos that you can look up. That's very weird and very occultish. There's a lot shady going on there, and I don't trust them. And sometimes I put faith in people that are much more intelligent than me, and a lot more intelligent than me people have said that you should not trust what's going on there, and what's going on there should not be taking place. You know, a lot of times in science, we do things just because we can, not because we should. And I think that's what's going on at CERN. I think that there's a lot of dangerous things taking place there, and there should be more of an uprising, more of, but people don't pay any attention. You know, very smart people think you need to be extremely concerned about what's going on at CERN, and I think we need to listen to them. When are we going to listen to? Sometimes you need to listen to science. I'm not a scientist or science. I'm science. I never know how to say it. The religion, scientism, the religion of science, where you don't question science at all. I'm not like that. But how do you not listen when most mainstream science is in agreement that we're like what, a decade away from a climate crisis, from being too late to do anything about it, and we're not listening to them. So how does that play out in the future, Shuan? What happens with global warming and climate change and things like the polar ice caps? And does the geography of America change? You know how they've shown you that the geography of America has the potential to change if the ice caps melt, and that our coastlines would look very different. Is any of that taking place in the future, or did mankind reverse and put a stop to where we were heading? I know some things you can't tell me because of the time police. We covered that yesterday, which makes sense. But I know in the you said you have a little more freedom in something like a YouTube feed. So maybe you can tell me if anything like that's happened in the future, because 2098 is a little ways down the road. So you can give us a little hope maybe for our future. But what do you guys want to talk about? I've went on and on. I covered my favorite Mandelas. I talked about what I think's causing the Mandela effect. I believe it's the experiments being done at CERN. Another very interesting idea is the multiverses, but Schuon is from the future. It's from the year 2098 and says it's because of time travel. And that's what's causing the Mandelas. But what I don't believe is that it's mass mismemory. I think a lot of times you got to apply that the simplest theory is most likely the right one. And it's not, to me, it's not simple that millions of people are misremembering stuff in the exact same way. That's not the simplest theory. Are you doing something that's playing with the fabric of reality? Then that would be the simplest. You know, there are experiments taking place where they're trying to unravel reality. Maybe they are. You ever think maybe they've been successful? You know, you're going to be the last to know if they do figure out how to unlock multiple universes, how to travel between realities and dimensions. You would be the very last person to find out. The average person would be the very, very last person to know about it. The fact that these experiments are going on should at least open you up to the fact that it's a possibility. It's a possibility that things have been altered. It's a possibility that things have been changed. It's not crazy. You know, again, very respected, very intelligent people say that that's exactly what they're trying to do there, and that they could unglue the fabric of reality. So, some things I'll talk about on this show are crazy. This doesn't happen to be one of them. But I wanted to do a fun episode. The reason why I did Mandela's today is because I'm researching one for Friday, the Facebook show. If you don't follow me on Facebook and you want to catch the Facebook version, because right now I'm doing Facebook and YouTube separately. Friday we're going to talk about Plum Island, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Plum Island, but it a lot of people believe that Plum Island, well, it is a bio-research facility. It's researches diseases and bioweapons, but people believe that that is where Lyme disease came from. And the more I'm researching it, I was asked to research this. I always request that you guys tell me what you want to hear about. This was one of the things somebody told me they wanted me to look into. And the more I look into it, the more I'm starting to believe that this is where Lyme disease came from, because it's exactly what they were studying on there. It's the exact type of experiments they were studying with and playing with, and they were experimenting with weaponizing biting insects like ticks all the way back in World War II. And the head scientist at Plum Island happened to be Eric Traub, a scientist that we brought over in Operation Paperclip, a Nazi scientist who was researching on weaponizing ticks with diseases such as Lyme disease, because Lyme disease wasn't even called Lyme disease before the outbreak. It's named after the town where the outbreak started, Lyme, Connecticut, I believe. But there is documentation that they were experimenting with these bioweapons at this lab. They don't admit that it was released from the lab, but there's enough circumstantial evidence and enough of a coincidence where the original outbreak took place in this country is only 30 miles away from Plum Island, the facility where they were researching on this exact uh, bioweapon and researching with this exact method of transportation through ticks. And like I said, that was something Hitler was experimenting with all the way back in World War II. So this is going to be a fascinating episode. Tune in on Friday on Facebook for that one, but I'll also put it up on YouTube. It usually hits YouTube on Saturday or Sunday, and because I archive them all over here on YouTube too. But Shun says, I've been checking my future timeline, and I can't say about the future because Time Police monitor my timeline rupture of dimension, but all I can say is things get better with technology. Yeah, of course. Technology it and that may mean that the explanation for the Mandela effect is that we live in a simulation, because if technology continues to advance, Elon Musk says there's a 1 in billion chance that we don't live in a simulation, which the odds are very good that we do, apparently, especially if technology continues to advance, which Schuon says it does, and that humanity is still around in 2098. So that is a lot of technological advancement. Shun says, I've been tracked, so on 2020, September 24th, don't go to Chicago. Bye, my friend. Oh, my goodness. All right, something's going to happen 2020, September 24th in Chicago. That's according to Shun, who obviously has to get out of here now because of the time police. But that's been our show for today. I'm playing around with days and times for the YouTube version of Conspiracy Theories and Chill, because it's going to become a weekly thing. It's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on which one of these gets the most views. I did one today and I did one yesterday. But with all the technical difficulties we had today, I may not want to use this one as the one to go on. And if you fought through all of that, thank you, and I apologize. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Conspiracy Theories and Chill.